As you probably know by now, the official story bios were released for each of the confirmed characters for Mortal Kombat 1. It obviously tells us a lot about the story, and there are a few interesting changes. Most of them I'm actually really excited to see, but there are a few that I don't really know how it'll work, like what they're doing with Scorpion. But Liu Kang's bio hints at who the villain will be in the game, and apparently it's a character that Liu Kang could have never anticipated. I think there's only one answer to who this character is, and it's none other than the Dragon King Onaga. I mean, it's about time. We've had all the other major villains, Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, Shinnok. We've had everyone except for Onaga, so it's about time we've seen him come back, since we've been waiting since like 2006 for him to return. Today we'll be covering 5 ways Onaga could return in Mortal Kombat 1. Before we get started, make sure that if you enjoyed this video, go check out some of my other videos. And if there's anything you want to see me cover in a video, let me know down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Now, to cover this theory, we'll have to go back to what I said earlier in the intro about the character bios. In Melina's character bio, Melina is going to be the Empress of Outworld, no Shao Kahn at all this time, and her and Kitana are biological sisters, and she's not a clone this time around. Apparently she's going to have some Tarkatan disease, which is going to be the explanation for her mouth, which I guess is a way to have the Tarkatans return, because obviously Liu Kang wouldn't bring them back in this timeline. Going back to what I said, Melina is confirmed to be the Empress of, or Khanum, whatever you want to call it in this timeline, and apparently the people of Outworld think that she won't be a good ruler, which, I mean, we saw what happened in Mortal Kombat X, didn't we? Now that part is really important to my theory, okay? So let's say in this timeline, Melina is a really bad ruler. She hasn't a single idea what she's doing, and without Shao Kahn or anyone to help her rule Outworld or give her good advice, she turns to the former ruler of Outworld, Onaga. Obviously, at this point, Onaga has been dead for years, so she sets out on a mission to resurrect Onaga to help her rule Outworld. Maybe she goes to Onaga's ancient tomb to resurrect him. Maybe she orders Quan Chi to perform a spell to resurrect him. Whatever it may be, she gets him back alive. And eventually, Onaga betrays her and takes the throne of Outworld, and the Earthrealm heroes have to find a way to stop him once and for all. Maybe instead of Onaga, she just wants his unbeatable army so she has more respect and is feared more by the people of Outworld, and when she does resurrect his army, she resurrects Onaga as well by accident. He possesses a character. There's a way I could see Onaga's soul or his spirit or something possessing a character and coming back through them. It's what I just talked about with Melina. As I mentioned earlier, maybe a way Onaga can come back is when Melina goes to revive him, she goes to the chamber of the last dragon egg in the lava shrine stage. It's where Cyrax and Reptile and Nitara went to in Deadly Alliance and Deception. Melina and her forces go there, and the egg hatches, and Onaga takes Melina's body as his vessel and comes back like what he did to Reptile back in Deception. This way you could bring back the Lava Shrine stage, Blaze, and you could bring back the Sect of the Holy Men for a nice cameo, and if you don't know who those guys are the guys who were devoted to Onaga and had been guarding the egg for God knows how long in the Lava Shrine. He's released from the tomb. I can see Onaga being released from his tomb in 2 ways. One way I could see Onaga being released from the tomb is through Chameleon. Now, hear me out on this. We're talking about either the male or female Chameleon here. It doesn't really matter which one, but for this theory, if it's the male one, we're going to assume that he is in fact a Saurian, one of Reptile's race. Maybe Chameleon goes invisible and enters the tomb and finds a way to resurrect Onaga there, and he's doing this as a way to get respect for himself and make himself known. But maybe you could put a twist on it and say Onaga takes Chameleon as a vessel as well to come back, and that way you could maybe give new powers to Onaga, but I feel like that's just saying you only brought Chameleon back to bring Onaga back, and that way you're kind of wasting Chameleon in my opinion. Now you might be saying they would never bring back Chameleon ever, but there's a chance he could come back in maybe cutscenes or as a cameo fighter or something. The other way I could see him being released from the tomb is from Quan Chi. Maybe he's sent there by Melina to find information on Onaga, and he figures out a way to resurrect him, but tells Melina he found nothing so he can resurrect him himself. He'd probably do this as a way to get his hands on Onaga's unbeatable army, but maybe in doing so accidentally releases Onaga as well. The only problem I have with this is it's literally just what he did back in Deadly Alliance. Goro. Honestly, you've probably heard of this one a million times, but I feel like I have to talk about this because it's so obvious to talk about given the subject of the video. Back in the Mortal Kombat X comics, by the end of the comic run, Goro is crippled, he has no arms, and he brings an unconscious Kenshi to the Red Dragon and Dagon, who's been released early at this point, in exchange for information on Onaga. As we all know, this basically went nowhere because the Mortal Kombat X comics were confirmed to be canon as far as the developers of the game says so, which is what Dominic Giancholo said. I mean, I could see this playing out in the games exactly how it was setting up in the comics. We know Goro was in the game, he was in the gameplay trailer as a cameo fighter, unless that's just some random shotgun. Maybe Goro fights Kung Lao and Kung Lao cuts his arms off, and then Goro goes to Dagon and the Red Dragon to find more information on Onaga, and they send him to either his tomb where Goro revives Onaga, or they send him to the lava shrine where Goro becomes the vessel for Onaga, which they were setting up back in Mortal Kombat X. And if you don't want to do this with Goro, you can just do it with Kentaro. We never get to see Kentaro do anything big, and we get to see him do something big in the next game. It would finally bring this idea that I've always wanted to see come to realization, but the only thing is that it's kind of an obvious thing to go off of, and kind of lazy, but I'd love to see it, but I unfortunately don't think we'll ever see this in any official game, ever. The Dream Realm. We're going to have to take some liberties for this theory, so bear with me. We're going to assume that the Dream Realm is canon, although it probably won't be ever considered canon. My theory is that Onaga is in the Dream Realm, and maybe the full power of the One Being is also in the Dream Realm. You have to take into consideration that the Elder Gods, Raiden and Fujin, anyone like that, any gods, have never once mentioned the Dream Realm. What if they don't mention it is because Onaga is there, or the power of the One Being is there, and the Elder Gods don't mention it because they don't want anyone to find the power that lies there. I mean, if you look at Tremor's ending in Mortal Kombat X, he goes there to retrieve a psych bomb for Kano, and when he's there, the power he's exposed to in the Dream Realm is so great that it turns Tremor into a demigod, and his power is comparable to that of Raiden or Fujin's. Although this ending is non-canon, I think it serves as a good showing to the power the Dream Realm could hold, so imagine how powerful someone could be if they found Onaga or the power of the One Being. Maybe Fire God Liu Kang discovers it and he finds Onaga there and he escapes, and now Liu Kang has to find a way to stop him. And so that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to go check out some of my other videos, and if there's anything you want to see me cover in a video, let me know down in the comments below, and if I make a video about it, I'll give you a shout out. If you have any theories on how Onaga could return in the next game, let me know down in the comments also. Don't forget to join my Discord, and thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will talk to you all later. Thank you.